All right. So I was originally going to do a letter where I was going to type out all of the things that I was feeling and then mail it to people, kind of like a, Christmas, year-end Christmas letter thing. But only one person said they wanted the letter. And I was like, man, I also have videos and stuff. So I'm doing a PowerPoint called My Year in Review 2024. 2019 to 23, though that 4 year chunk, regardless of COVID and probably because of COVID as well, was kind of a bad 4 years for me. And 2024 started out bad again, and I lost my job at Winco. And for a few weeks in February, it was February 3rd that I lost my job. I kind of let it get me down. And I had spent all of 2023 saving up for a cruise that Raylene and I were supposed to go on, and we ended up going. Um, but I was like, man, this cruise isn't going to happen. And then it dawned on me, I was like, I got to make this happen. This is like the biggest vacation I'm ever going to go on. I can't, I have to do it. And the attitude that I had in this whole, I'm not going to let things get me down anymore. I'm tired of having bad years, bad time, bad life, whatever. And I've let that attitude like carry me into the future. Um, and it made 2024 an absolutely amazing year because I was like, I'm done tired of like, you know, I'm done tired of living a crappy life. So yeah, here I am. And that's basically what's going to happen. So yeah. So my spring, I kind of switched them. I used the spring one for summer and the summer one for spring. Because when we went on the cruise was pretty tropical. So um yeah, in the springtime. We flew down to Florida and visited my aunt and uncle, my Aunt Irma and my Uncle Larry, a few days before the cruise. In the guest room, right here, she did a welcome to welcome Shira and Raylene in our guest room. And then she drove us out to Anna Maria Island, and we, you know, watched the birds on the dock and ate ice cream and watched the parasailers you can see in the bottom left. I just had a really good time for a few days. It was very pleasant. I loved spending time with her, um, and my uncle. It was really a lot of fun. And then my aunt and uncle were unbelievably extra nice and drove Raylene and I down to Miami um, so we could catch the cruise. In in the top left, that's Raylene and I arriving at the Tampa airport. That flamingo was huge. That is a open airport that's two floors. So that flamingo is gigantuous. And then I have my feet in the sand in the Bahamas. Um, it really feels like kinetic sand. Like, no joke. It's like the best sand I've ever felt in my life. It's amazing. And then I got our cruise ship on the top right. That's the Norwegian Pearl. And then I bought a mug in the Bahamas, from Nassau. And then I took a picture of everyone around the pool, on the ship. And then the bottom left is a picture from when we were in the Bahamas. So yeah, that was a super amazing trip. Uh, Probably the best vacation I think I've ever been on. Yeah, a lot of fun. And then I joined school. During my reflection in February, I was like, man, really want to go back to school for conservation science. I've always wanted to study seismology and volcology, which is earthquakes and volcanoes. But you have to start somewhere. You can't just get your master's degree in volcology and seismology right off the bat. You got to start with your associates. Um, I attempted it one time a few years back at Olympic College, but they didn't have the program. They had the classes, but Olympic College doesn't have a program coupled together to get your degree. Peninsula College does. They actually started a conservation science associate program in the fall of 2023, and I joined it in April of 24. So only 2 quarters after it started. It's a brand new program. It's doing really great. The photos that you see here, I went and volunteered up on the Elwha River to install fish weirs. And what it is it's basically a chain link fence, but it's a dam, and it funnels these the fish into this box. And then after the box is, or the fish are in the box and stuff, you tag them and they get released, and that's how they kind of keep track of them. So this was a lot of fun. Here's a few pictures of, you know, so we kind of switched out. We took breaks. I went and helped build, and then I took a break, and then I went and helped build and took a break. So obviously these photos are during my particular break in this volunteer program. So that's what these are from. And then here's some more photos from April and May. In the top left and bottom right, we went to a burn scar from a wildfire from my wildland fire science class. Um, and that's me standing in a tree that got burned out. And then the top left is my teacher holding a core, so you can core out samples. And then the two pictures, the one on the bottom right and then the one in the middle on the top, is from when we went to Salt Creek in Port Angeles area to study the intertidal. And then the picture on the top right and the kind of the middle where the fireplace or the fire, I went on a camping trip with some friends. I think it was Memorial Weekend. No, it was middle of May, because it was the same weekend as Viking Fest. Um, that was a super fun trip. I think that's probably the best camping trip I've been on in quite a while. No family. I've always gone on camping trips with either my kids or my parents growing up or something like that. This was my first camping trip I'd gone on with literally just friends, and it was a whole hell of a lot of fun. The other picture is a stock photo I found on Google of river rafting. I took my friend Ashley river rafting for her birthday in May. We didn't get any photos because, for one, it was raining, and for two, you couldn't bring anything out on the rafting trip. Um, but it was still a whole lot of fun. She says she wants to go do that again, probably warmer weather. So that was a lot of fun. And then summertime. So yeah, I used the spring photo for the summer. Um, but yeah, anywho, go switcheroo. So the first thing I did in summers, I went to Seattle Pride. I've gone to Seattle Pride before. The reason why I included this is because I went to 2 different prides this year, and I'll show you later on the other pride I went to. I've always gone to Seattle Pride multiple times, but I just wanted to include this for future purposes in this PowerPoint. So yeah, so there's a few photos from Seattle Pride. And then in July, for my birthday, um, Ashley took me to San Juan Islands, and we did the bioluminescence kayak trip. So in the middle one in the bottom, I I snapped a photo of Ashley behind her. She doesn't know it. She probably will now, but that's okay. And then on the top left, so Ashley and I, they're dual uh they're 2 people kayaks. And it was Raylene, Ashley, and I. And so in the other kayak is Raylene with the instructor. And then in the other kayak is some random lady I didn't know on the trip. Don't know who she is, but she put her paddle in the water and I was able to catch a little bit of the bioluminescence, so that was pretty cool. On the same trip, the next day, we went on a whale watching, and so here's the thing on the left is a video, and I'll play it in a moment. But yeah, here's a few other photos from us going out in the water. You can see Ashley and Raylene. I took a picture of them when we were on the ferry on the way out to San Juan from Anacortes. Again, I'll be honest, Ashley doesn't really like pictures of her, so she might be upset with me for this, but I love you, and it's a really good picture of you. You look great. Anywho, the other one next to it is a couple of harbor seals on a pie or a buoy thing out in the middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the water. And then the one next to it was after we were going home, after the whole trip was done. We were there for 3 days, 2 nights up at San Juan. And on the way home, I saw this deer standing alongside the highway right in front of a deer sign. So I just thought that was pretty cool. And then the one on the two on the bottom are when we were out in the water before we got to the whales. And that's in the evening magazine playing, and then some random boat with Mount Rainier behind it. I thought that was pretty cool. So to explain the video before I play it, it says we got mugged by orcas. We didn't actually get mugged. It's just a phrase. It's not actually anything dangerous. So when we were out there, our guide heard that there was some orcas, actually down by Port Townsend. So we took a 45-minute boat ride from San Juan all the way down to Port Townsend on the water. So I've never, ever, 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 ever been out in the Salish Sea in this much depth before, to take a 45-minute boat ride from San Juan all the way down to Port Townsend. I was like, man, we could have just watched the whales from Port Townsend instead of driving all the way up to Anacortes and taking the ferry. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm talking too much. So they have a rule where you're supposed to be more than 200 yards away from orcas, but the orcas go under the water. And so we're traveling out there and we're trying to find these orcas, and all of a sudden they just pop up. Well, they popped up like almost right underneath us. Well, in order to keep from hurting the orcas, because we were legally too close, but we didn't do it on purpose because they were underneath the water and the driver of our boat couldn't see them. So as soon as they pop up, he kills the engine and turns to the right. Well, when he turned to the right, I was on the left side of the boat, and so I kind of like it was a hard turn to keep from hitting these orcas. My phone was in my pocket. So when I pull out the phone and start recording, the orcas are already like 10 feet from us. But when they first popped up and we were leaning in that turn, I was so concentrating on trying not to fall in the water, I was holding on. But if I had thought about it at the time, I probably could have reached out and touched an orca. We were super close. So I'm going to play this video, and this is probably one of the best experiences I've had this year. I had the cruise, which is super cool. This happened, which is super cool. And there's more after this. So this 2024 was just amazing. But anyways, here's the video.
That was awesome! Whoa! Oh my god! Oh my god! Dude, they're like 10 feet from us. Whoa! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh my god!
I don't think I'm ever going to get an experience like that ever again. Like, that's just amazing. Anywho. All right. So, at the end of July, beginning of August, I went out to Silverwood for my birthday. This year's been a lot of like, I took Raylene on the cruise with me. Raylene went to the whale watching and bioluminescence with us. But I kind of wanted to just have some time a lot this year, to just kind of do my thing. So yeah, so I went out to Silverwood for my birthday. I did have friends go with me, but I was alone at the campground. This was the first time I'd camped alone. It took me like 3 hours to get that tent up because it's a 10-man tent and I didn't realize that the top pieces takes like two people to do. I had to like stake a piece or stake one of the pieces into the ground with an extra stake and like to hold it so I could like put the tent up. Oh, anyhow, so here's the campground on the top left when I first pulled up. And then on the bottom, you can see it's kind of getting dark. I got a canopy. I moved the picnic table over. I got the green tent looking thing in there. That's actually a shower tent with my porta potty in it. This particular campground had electricity and Wi-Fi because I took summer quarters. So as you can see in the top right, I have my laptop out here. So I still had to do homework when I was on this trip. So I got a campground that had electricity, but I'll admit I'm a super cheap person, so I did not get campground with a bathroom, so I brought my own bathroom. And then here's the inside of the tent, all messy because that's me. But yeah, that was my camp or my campground. So here's a few photos from Silverwood. I got the train, the vertical photos. And then I bought myself a mug, like I always do. I always buy mugs when I go on trips. Well, for the most part. Um, yeah. Anyways, and then there's Boulder Beach, the water park, and the back of the train when I was on it. So yeah, it was a pretty fun time for that trip. And then so I turned 40 on the 15th of August, and this lightning storm was on the 17th, so like 2 days after my birthday, sitting out on the balcony. And it's just tremendous lightning storm. I've never in my entire life, I mean, and I've been to Arizona a few times, and and I've never experienced a lightning storm like this. But anyways, on the top right, you can see how close it was to my house. That's like 3 blocks from my house. And then the two bottom photos are the bottom one on the left is a different angle of the lightning strike that's actually in the video. The top left is the video. I'll play it in a minute. And then the bottom right is a completely different lightning bolt that I captured. But the the top right and bottom left are the same lightning bolt. They're just from two different angles. And the video is the same lightning bolt. I forewarn you, I do say the F word a couple of times. I felt this lightning bolt go through me, even though it was like 3 blocks away. I could never imagine actually being struck by lightning. I could feel this. But anyways, I'll play the video for you.
Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, it scared me.
Oh my god.
It truly did. But,
Oh, that was so fucking close.
oh, I laugh at myself now. But yeah, what a way to feel alive 2 days after you turn 40. It was just amazing. So yeah, all right. And then we get into the autumn. Um, so in autumn, I decided to take a trip to Reno. I flew down there. The top right, sorry, is me at the Reno airport. Um, and then the other photos are from around around in the area, just getting some pretty cool photos of um so there's this place down there where there's a dome, and inside the dome is what's in the bottom left. And this thing's like 4 stories tall inside of a dome. So this picture doesn't do it any justice, but it's super tall. And then you got the cherubs around the fountain, are the other two photos, and then stained glass in my hotel. So that was pretty cool. I went down there for a festival called the Great Reno Balloon Race. Basically, what they do is they do a bunch of balloons and they let off in one spot. And when they let off in one spot, they have like little areas that they're supposed to land around the park. And so they have to take off and land at like multiple locations. And the first person to, it is actually a race, but it's also a huge spectacle too. There's a bunch of people. Um, so on the bottom left, you see a guy sitting there and he's blowing up a balloon. I put that in there to kind of give you the perspective on how big these things are. They're ginormous. Um, and then there's me in the middle. I took a photo with in the background with a balloon that is nicknamed Sushi. Um, and then right next to it, I bought myself normally I buy myself mugs. I always buy myself mugs. But for one, I couldn't find a mug. And then when I was looking around, I saw this balloon. You put a regular balloon in it, like a just regular balloon inside this cloth. And it's a hot air balloon. And my bedroom is Star Wars, and I love BB-8. So BB-8's on the back of this photo's for the front of it. But yeah, so I bought myself a miniature hot air balloon instead of a mug. And on the top left, I took a picture of the cop and robber, and every time I tried taking a picture of the robber, I never got the front of it, which plays into the whole fact that the robber is very elusive. But anyways, then they had Smokey the Bear, and they had Yogi the Bear, and the firefighter dog, I forgot his name. And then in the bottom right, they got the Utah uh, balloon from Utah. And that is a truck. Two trucks at the bottom. Once again, that gives you size of perspective. This balloon race, I have a lot of videos. They had a glow patrol that was before dawn, but unfortunately, those are all videos or they're photos that are like super dark. So I can't really put them in here. Um, but yeah, I went to that all 3 days that I was there for I flew in on Thursday and flew out on Monday. So I was there not all of Thursday, not all. So I was basically there for technically 5 days and 4 nights, but really truly 3 full days. And I went to the balloon race all 3 days. So here's some more balloons from the balloon race. Um, yeah, they did the national anthem, which is the top one in the middle. So I took a photo of when they were doing the national anthem. If you follow me on social media, I have an entire album with every video and photo I took, if you're curious. But yeah, here's more. And then on the bottom left, the announcer lady was like, it's a ballooner eclipse, basically, because you're in the shadow of the balloon. Thought that was kind of funny. And then the burn in the middle, I asked the guy if I could take a photo of him burning for me, and he wonderfully obliged. It was pretty great. So I got a burn photo. And then the one next to it, the balloon with the cactus in it, um, that's the balloon from Arizona. It's called the Oasis. That is actually my favorite balloon, in the entire thing. I love Sushi. Sushi's cool. She's in the top left right now. But yeah, and then I got a balloon ride, which dummy me when I got up there forgot to hit record on my camera, so I missed the recording of my first ever hot air balloon ride, but hey, it is what it is. I do plan on going again. It'd be cool. And then the Reno balloon race was from like 3:30 to 11:30 in the morning, because of the glow show and all that other stuff. So I had to figure out what I was going to do for the rest of the day. So I went to a car museum or the auto museum in Reno, and their entire building is like two, maybe three football fields big. It is huge. And they have cars in this place that are from like the old Model Ts, like even before Model Ts, like cars that are like technically like in the days were right after horse-drawn wagons, but before actual enclosed cars. Like I think that's what I'm showing on the bottom middle is like the really, really old, like first technical cars. Um, yeah, and then I've got some race cars on the right, some old cars. Just I I took like probably like 400 photos in this place, but the reason why I'm showing these ones particular is because I wanted to show how big the place was, hopefully, by putting photos in here that were multiple cars. Um so yeah, that was a super cool trip. If you follow me on social media again, I got the photos of that on there. Like a lot, all of them, probably like all 400. But anywho, here's a few. And then this is why I put in the fact that I went to Seattle Pride because on Saturday, I went to Northern Nevada Pride. Um, and here's a few photos from that trip. Um, Once again, it was amazing. Um, I hate to say this, but I think Northern Nevada Pride is way better than Seattle Pride. The people here are just, I didn't think you could get more welcoming than Seattle Pride. Like, I didn't think you could, especially in Nevada. And I don't mean to be rude against Nevada. Like, you know, I don't know, like, just it, the best Pride I've ever been to. People were amazingly nice, so welcoming, so kind. I just, if I wasn't already enjoying myself a lot this weekend, I think this probably would have done it. But yeah, these people were amazing. So here's a few photos from Nevada Pride. Super fun. Um, and then on Sunday, after I went to the balloon race in the morning, I went to a watch party in Sparks. So I took the bus. Since I flew down to Reno, I didn't have a vehicle, which is fine. I'm not afraid to ride the bus. So I took the bus out to Sparks, which is what the two photos on the left are. And I went to this watch party. Well, cars just seemed to be around me, I guess. But when I went out there, there was this dude. I forgot his name. But yeah, he had a Raiders car out there. So here's a few photos of his really awesome Raiders car. I don't remember if we won or lost that game. The Raiders. I can't remember if we won the game or not. Whatever. It was still a whole lot of fun. To just walk around Sparks. Um, Very beautiful area. Um, Absolutely loved it. I have more photos on my social media of like in the bottom left of just walking around before and after I went to the Raiders watch party. But yeah, that was super fun. Um, and then I did more walking around town that afternoon because the game got over at like 3 something. And I was able to stay up a little later because so what I'd been doing the first couple of nights had been there, I'd been going to bed at like 6, 7 at night because with the balloon race starting at 3:30 in the morning, I had to get up early. I had to get up at like 2 in the morning. But this particular night, um, I didn't have to, my plane didn't fly out until like 1 o'clock on Monday. And my checkout time at the hotel was like 10. And I was like, ooh, I could sleep in. So I decided to stay up a little bit later. So I just like walked around town. And Reno's got these really cool sculptures around town that are just like, taking up space and what they, little parks here and there. So yeah, I took a photos of all these statues that they had around town as I was just walking around town, just aimlessly walking, just whatever. Just doing my thing, enjoying the sun, enjoying the time, before I went back to my hotel for the night. That's what I did for this. So that's that. Excuse me. And then technically winter. So oh man, sorry. Okay. Anywho, so yeah, so wintertime, Raylene um is moving or has moved to Arizona. So we packed up the car, and then my dad had this little like bike whatever holder that is that goes into your trailer hitch. So we did that. And then we packed up the car, and then we took a trip. We went south this way. Um, one way. This is the path we went south on the left. Um, excuse me, because Raylene and I wanted to go to Voodoo Donuts before we, you know, couldn't do that together anymore as a mother and daughter. So yeah, so we did that. And then we went through Central Oregon. About exactly where it says 23 hours. It ended up being a 2-day drive because you got to rest and sleep. But right about there, in the little marker that you can see, because each one of these little blue markers is like where we stopped along the way. You can see where I've, marked things out in other road trips. Like you can see where I marked out the places in Idaho and stuff that I've gone before and just haven't taken them off my map, which is whatever. But anyways, so that's Burns, Oregon, right where the 2338 thing is. And yeah, so we ended up staying in Burns, Oregon. And then on the right is the North Path. I had family in Eastern Washington. Um, And believe it or not, that's actually the shorter path. If it wasn't for going to Voodoo on the way down, the path on the right that's labeled north would have been our path for going down and going up, because that's actually the shortest path. But I wanted to do the other path because of Voodoo, and I didn't want to go through Northern California because that's the Siskiyous, and those are really steep mountains in the winter. So, yeah, so this is our path. There's the car all packed up. So yeah, then we went to Voodoo. Uh, every time I go to Voodoo, I have to park in that parking spot in front of the Voodoo doll. I actually have it on my social media. The last like 2 or 3 cars I've owned, I've parked in that same spot, so it's kind of a tradition. But yeah, so here's some photos from Voodoo. And from Portland. The 2 bottom photos with like the sunrise, that was the sunrise in Burns, Oregon after we woke up the next morning. So this is kind of like a Oregon thing, collage. There we go. And then here's a few more. These are some photos that Raylene took along the way. So sunrise is the same sunrise. Some more um parts of Portland before we got to Voodoo. Picture of her donuts that she bought. Um, and then so as you saw in the previous slide, we went down through Oregon and then directly into Nevada. So here is my dad took a photo of me standing in front of the Nevada sign. And then here's a few photos while we were in Nevada, um, along the highway. That was pretty cool. And then more photos of Nevada along the highway. And then we found this like castle place along Highway 50. And it's called Stokes Castle. And so um the photos in this collage were taken by me, my dad, and Raylene. I just kind of coupled them all together. Um but yeah, the view is amazing. Again, I have a video and stuff on my social media if you guys want to look at that. That's pretty cool. And then we drove through the strip, through Las Vegas. Yeah. So I have like 3 or 4 collages of just the strip because my dad and Raylene took all the photos. I think I took like 4 of these because I was the one that was driving. So all these photos are from my dad and Raylene, most of them. And I just couldn't like. So when I was in Reno, I stayed at the Circus Circus. I didn't include that in my collage. But here is the Circus Circus in Vegas. And I specifically asked my dad and Raylene to take a photo of Circus Circus because I was like, dude, I stayed there in Reno because I have a Circus Circus in Reno. That was the hotel I stayed at. So that's why that's in there. And then you've got the Welcome to Las Vegas arch thing. Palm trees in the middle. I think Raylene took that photo, and that is amazing. They're so cool looking. And then you've got Hell's Kitchen, and I don't know what's in the bottom left. Anywho, and then we went and saw the Sphere. Um, the one on the right, it says Happy Holidays from all of us at Sphere. So, because we were down there, I think it was the 21st. Yeah, because we got to Arizona on the 22nd, so basically right before Christmas. The bottom left is when they decided to make the entire sphere look like a snow globe. That was pretty cool. I loved that. And then we've got the Strat, a few photos of the Strat. I think one of these I actually took because I was driving. Um, no, I think these are the ones that are from Raylene and Dad. No, yeah, these are from Raylene and Dad. I did take one from when I was driving, but it's really so I used these instead. Um, so here's more photos. I thought it was pretty cool that they had a Denny's down there. Like, pretty awesome. So there's a few photos of that. And then the one on the bottom left is the fountain. There's this fountain down there. And look at the people. Like, this fountain is huge. And Raylene got like a 10-second video and then it ended when we were at a red light. We are at a red light and Raylene took like a 10-second video, and come to find out it was like when we got to the red light, it was like at the very end of the show. And the red lights down there take forever. So we were at the red light for like a minute or two, and I was like, man, maybe you can get it when it starts back up again. But there's like this big, long gap between the fountain and it did not start up again in the, 5,000 years we were at the red light. So unfortunately, we didn't get a video of that at all, or a worthwhile video. But she tried. She tried. Really tried. And then just more photos. We've got the Brooklyn Bridge or London Bridge, something like that. The pyramid with the Sphinx in front of it. The Eiffel Tower look-alike. The Statue of Liberty look-alike. A huge Coca-Cola thing. I mean, look at the street lights, just to give you a perspective. And you can kind of see, because my dad took the Coca-Cola photo. You can see on the left side of the photo where you can see my phone for the GPS, like right in the edge of the photo. And then on the bottom left, they've got these huge trucks. They're like double-decker buses, but they're giant TV screens on these big ass trucks. And so that's what the one in the bottom left is. It's just this truck that was like driving, and it was kind of ruining our photos. So I actually had to speed up and pass it because for a little bit we were behind it, and I was like, man, this truck is cool. And then my dad was like, I can't get any photos because the reflection from that advertisement truck is ruining it. So I had to like speed up and pass that truck. But that was pretty cool. And then here's more. We've got the fashion show on the two photos on the bottom. And then Treasure Island as well. Um, more palm trees with Christmas lights, and then you've got the castle on the top left. I forget the name of the specific name of that castle. I'm probably gonna sound really stupid not naming all these things correctly. I've never been to Las Vegas in my entire life, and we just drove through it because the goal was Raylene's moving or has moved or at the time was moving to Arizona, and we had a bunch of stuff in the car and couldn't really stop. So yeah, my first time to Vegas is just driving through it. So I don't know the names of all these places. Pretty sure I'll learn them in the future, or people will correct me in the comments or whatever. But yeah, so that was more photos from the Strip. And me being a Raiders fan, I had to stop by Allegiant Stadium. I took a few photos of the stadium from the parking lot. Um, and then I noticed at one point along the trip, because I was driving and it was really sunny in Nevada and stuff, I noticed that I kind of had like through the window, I had a minor sunburn on my face. So I just thought I'd throw that in there with my Raiders stadium photos. I think that's the last photo I have from the Strip. Yes, it is. Okay, so we got down to Glendale, um, dropped Raylene or unloaded all her stuff. In the top left is Raylene, her boyfriend, and my dad. Um, I was setting this photo up, and they were behind me, and I don't think they realized I was taking a photo because they just like walked past me, and my photo has a delay because I like to do long exposure photos to kind of pull in more light. And so they ended up walking right through it. Whatever. In the bottom right is State Farm Stadium, where the Cardinals play. I took that, well, my dad took that one. He walked across the street for me to take it. But that photo was taken because I just saw Allegiant Stadium the night before. And I was like, man, got to see two teams' stadiums in less than 24 hours, and it's not the Seahawks stadium that I live near. So yeah, so that's why we took that one. But this is the Westgate Entertainment District. As you can see, I got myself a ring and some turquoise mixed earrings. Next to the left, you can see me waving to my dad through the fountain. Um, and you got more of the fountain on the far left. You've got more of the fountain on the top in the middle. And then my dad took a really cool photo of the Christmas tree they had up in the center of the uh entertainment district, like in the center of the whole outdoor mall, whatever area was this really large Christmas tree with some palm trees, and my dad took that photo. So that was a really good capture. Um, and I have these backwards on accident. These are some photos of some cactuses along the highway in Arizona. This was actually before we got to Raylene's. Um, Technically, it could be after we dropped Raylene off and left town and started heading back north. Because we headed back north to Vegas and then we cut towards Idaho and stuff, as you saw on the map in the other one. So from Vegas down to Raylene's and from Raylene's back to Vegas is the same road. So technically, these could be before or after the Westgate photos. So they're technically in order. And then we hit on the way back because we went through the Vegas Strip at night, and the Hoover Dam on the border of Nevada and Arizona is like half an hour or 40-minute drive from Vegas. There's no way we could have seen this by going through Vegas at night. So on the way back, my dad and I stopped by and looked at the bridge and stuff. Sorry. So yeah, so I've got my feet on the top left. I've got one foot in Nevada. Oh, sorry. One foot in Arizona. I got me in front of the Nevada sign. I've got the Bridging Greatness, and then the name of the bridge. It's Mike O'Callahan on the Nevada side, and then Pat Tillman on the Arizona side. They are, it's a memorial bridge from a few people that one guy was part of building the bridge, and the other person was part of the architecture or something. But anyways, I'm gonna play a video. Um, I have this video zoomed out to like 0.5 um, in the video, which is in the middle, to get as big of a range as possible. And if you look down in the video, there are vehicles at the very bottom of this that are like the size of like the tip of a pin from your perspective up on the bridge. This is huge. But yeah, I'll go ahead and play it. Yeah, see the vehicles down there? Those are vehicles on a platform. This dam is huge. The bridge is huge. It's just, yeah, it's pretty cool. Anyways, and then here's more northern Nevada after we got past Vegas and started headed towards Idaho. Central Nevada, I guess, somewhere around in that range. Um, and then we oh, we actually had to go to the bathroom. But we saw this wildlife refuge along the highway. I think it was Highway 93 or Highway 318. Can't remember which. Um, but we decided to stop, and then I was like, man, it'd be kind of nice to stretch our feet. So we walked around. Um, I have a video on my social media somewhere of some deer hooves and some coyote prints out in this wildlife refuge that we were at. Um, but yeah. So this is pretty cool. They have this man-made lake up there, and it created a creek that goes through here. And then they've got like this bridge that goes over the creek with like these really cool animal statue things on them. The frog that's on the right, I didn't notice it was there, and I was like leaning on the railing. And I thought it was a real frog for a moment. It scared the crud out of me, and my dad just started laughing at me. It was a great moment. Um, yeah, and then we got to Idaho. This is the Snake River. Um, this is a bridge that goes over the Snake River. Um, uh, there's a waterfall that goes down the cliff. There's a picture of me in front of the river. Um, and then here's some more photos, um, of that exact same spot. That was pretty cool. Um, so yeah, thanks for watching and listening. And I know this was a really long year in review. I appreciate you spending your time with me if you're still here. When I got home, I got this curtain light in my living room that I always do decorative stuff on. And so when I got home from the trip, I decided to put this on my curtain light, and I will play it for you. So yeah, so happy new year, comma, 2025. I hope 2025 is just as great, and I plan on taking the attitude I've had in 2024 and making it better and improving my life and not letting things get me down and just being better. 2024, even though it started out pretty crappy and there's a few cruddy things along the way. I mean, I'm not going to say the entire year's been 100% perfect, but I really have to say that 2024 has been a pretty good year for me. It's definitely a year worth remembering, and definitely a year worth, like, going, if I could have a year like 2024, that type of thing. It's been a pretty good year. So, yeah, like I said, thanks for watching, and I hope your 2025 is super amazing.